All right, a few people messaged me just now asking for my opinion on the new Sportsman Mud Edition. I hate to tell you, but I haven't looked at the specs yet. I've been doing it with you guys. I doubt there's anything new. Polaris puts very few development dollars into ATVs. They've been selling the same machine essentially for like 15 years now. And yeah, it's probably going to be more of the same, but we'll look at the specs and I'll try to figure out if anything actually changed for you guys. So if you go on Polaris' website and you go to off-road, we can look at all the available models. And this new Mud Edition hit vehicles, hit Sportsman. And for 2025, you scroll down, there's no more Highlifter Edition. So they seem to have broken with Highlifter. Highlifter doesn't really make much tires anymore. You kind of hardly see them. The Outlaw 2s and Outlaw 3s and all the other ones are just kind of too heavy, and we all kind of stopped running them. They stopped making the Outlaw 1, which we all love because that makes sense. But yeah, anyway, there's just an 850 now. So I don't see a 1000 Mud Edition anymore, which is interesting. And if we come down here and we go to trim and specs, we can look at the specs. So first thing you'll notice is it's a different tire. This tire is kind of neat. It actually looks really similar to what came on my 2025 Can-Am XMR 850, where you have two knobbies on one side, two knobbies on the other side, and so on and so forth. Maybe these are a little more aggressive than the ones on my Can-Am. You got the full sidewall wrap, but definitely a similar looking tire. Um, yeah, and they're not high lifter tires. The LL2s pulled really hard. They're just rode like crap. You still got 6-inch wide steel wheels, it looks like. Oh, and now if you go over here, now you get to 1000. Okay, so there is a 1000. It just isn't in the drop down. You've got to click on it. Looks like it's got the same bumper, same plastics. These plastics have been around forever, guys. So Polaris updated the non-high lift edition plastics, but they haven't changed anything on this one. So there is a 1000. I was wrong. It's just you have to find it in a different spot. So 16,400 for the 1000 and 12,500 for the 850. Definitely cheaper than the Can-Am, at least MSRP. But then it should be because they haven't changed anything in so long that they haven't spent any research dollars. So this thing should probably actually be cheaper than this. Now, if you remember, not too long ago, you used to be able to get a Highlifter edition for like 9 grand out the door, and for an 850. So yeah. Anyway, let's go look at the specs. That's what we're here for. So I'm going to split the screen real quick. Doop doop doo. And of course, it broke their web page. All right, see more. Here's the specs. So these are the 2025 specs, and over here I found some 2022 specs to do a comparison. So these are the old Outlaw 2s, which, have been around forever. I'm going to guess nothing changed because Polaris is lazy and cheap and doesn't do any development for ATVs. That's just a guess. So liquid cooled, 2-cylinder, on demand. It's like an auto locking front differential to Hillard. That's the same. Single American engine, that's the same. Horsepower, 78 horsepower, that's the same. Estimated dry weight, 946. Where do we have? Do we have that over here? Let's see. Product specs, 921. So the dry weight went up a little bit. That maybe the tires are heavier, but I kind of doubt it. It doesn't get much more heavier than an Outlaw 2. I suspect maybe they're just being more honest because we know that this is kind of a lightweight. I don't know. Maybe the tires look about the same size in this picture. I don't know. These 30 Outlaw 2s, by the way, they call them 29.5s and they call them 30s. They're a pretty tall tire. They're pretty close to 30. So I don't know. I don't know why the weight's different, but that is the first change I've seen. Rack capacity, that's the same, 75 pounds. Overall vehicle size, we got 88, 50, 54. This says it's 84.6, 50, 50.4. So the width and the height are the same. This one says it's longer. I think that might just be a typo between the one with a different front bumper. I don't think there's anything meaningful that's different. Wheelbase is the same. Let's look at suspension travel. So suspension is the real problem with these machines. They don't have enough suspension travel. The front will bottom out constantly and send you over the handlebars. So that's why, like on Richards, we do this shock swap with the non-high lifter shocks. So you've got 7.4 inches in the front, and you've got 6.7 in the rear, and 7.4, 6.7. So they didn't fix the suspension problem, which is the biggest problem. They didn't really change anything. 30x9 Mud Pro XT tires. Interesting. The other one had 30 by 9.5 Outlaw 2s. So yeah, in summary, there's no point to me making this video, as I expected. Again, Polaris has not done any development on their ATVs. They've threw all their money at their side-by-side line. This ATV is critically, insanely out of date. It has a lot of common issues that need to be addressed. Primarily, the electrical system. Every Sportsman I ride with has issues with the coil packs getting wet and it dropping a cylinder. Feels like it goes into limp mode. Constantly have to grease your coil packs. The one I had a lot of front differential issues. I was running large tires and stuff. But with all these Polarises, the biggest problem is that the driveline isn't sealed very well. So you have splines that are exposed, they get rusty and they get slop in them. You have to grease things a lot. Also, this transmission is a really, really old transmission. It has 2 chains in it. It's got a drive chain and a reverse chain, so there's a lot of slop and backlash, and it's pretty hard to shift. Not the most reliable transmission. The radiator fans are not the most reliable. So, I don't know. A lot of my friends have these. I'm not talking shit about your bikes, guys. I'm just pointing out that Polaris really needs to do some updating, and calling this new thing a new machine is stupid. They just took High Lifter out of the name and changed the tires. It's the same thing that's been sold forever. But while I got you here, let's go ahead and see if we can find these tires anywhere else. I think they're probably going to be a one-off Polaris tire, but we can take a look and see what's what. Yeah, I don't see these anywhere around. They're on the Polaris website. That's something different. Oh, so that's the Mud Pro or Mud Pro XT. I haven't even seen those yet. They're, I don't know. All mud tires kind of look the same nowadays. They're all kind of doing the same thing. It'd be nice to find the weights on these, but I think these 2.0s are going to be specific to this this platform. So maybe I'll get my hands on them and weigh them and test them. They don't look at anything special to me right now, but I do love testing tires. All right, sorry there wasn't anything really useful to tell you guys other than just whining about Polaris being cheap and lazy when it comes to ATVs.